So for our lovely Mr. B again, we're going to see if we can practice a bit with some of his going to a spot and then see if we can add in a little bit of distraction by either adding movement or distance or some time frame to his duration scenario. So we're going to again just bring him on over. So ready, we'll go to our bed. So the benefit of sometimes working these place behaviors is, let's say he is getting into some of those rowdier boy moments. Sometimes I always think, what would I rather from my dog? And if it's something they've rehearsed quite often and quite well, it might be something that you can again start to put on cue for when needed. So if, let's say, Mr. B is a little bit uncertain, we might bring him back into that lovely little sit. Now I might tell him to stay. His little cheeks got stuck on his teeth, which is always so stinking cute. There they go again. That's adorable. So while he's working this stay, remember to build up duration. We want to keep the reps short and sweet so that he is very successful. We want to also make it seem that it's more fun to be stationary than it is to be up and wiggling, which for most puppies is the exact opposite. They'd much rather be up and wiggling and exploring and doing things than being stuck stationary and not really doing much. So again, while Mr. B is working this lovely stay, rapid fire for now. As he gets more fluid, I might increase either the time frame, but remember, not all three at once. So I might be doing a little bit with some wiggles, but I want to keep the time frame short and sweet, so I'm not making it too hard from both venues. So if my puppy were to break, I'm just going to regain that lovely sit. I'm going to tell him once more to stay, and we might do 1 or 2 little successful reps, and then give him a little break. So again, yes. Nice. Yes. Gorgeous. Yes. Gorgeous. Nice. All done. We might do a little touch if he's comfortable, and then we get him up. And there's no food for leaving. So what I want Mr. B to think is that the value, oh, there's a find it right there, sir. There's the value is in going to your spot. So we might, again, try a little bit where I would love to have him get a little excited about me adding some of that movement. So again, some wiggles that get him a little bit more wild, and then see if I can ask him to go to his bed instead, or offer a little sit position instead. So as opposed to doing the find it's, like sometimes when I was sort of trotting back and forth and getting him a little excited, I want to see if we can go into, ready? Oh my gosh, what a good boy. Ready? Ready? He's like, yes, I'm so excited. Ready? Bed. Yes, good boy. So it doesn't have to be a stay. I just want him to start thinking that there's value in hanging out in his place. Nice. So again, stay. He's like, this is very hard. So then I might add a little bit of excitement or some wiggles. I know I feel a bit dorky doing some lovely jumping, but if, let's say, he wiggles back to our sit, yes. So you may find that maybe while he is not quite excited yet, work him before you need the behavior. So if, let's say, for example, again, we're working this little bed, he didn't apply a stay to it. So again, we could just get him up, get him wiggling. But let's say, for example, we're waiting for him to have a hard time, then to ask him to go to his spot or go take a break, then that would be a moment where he might already be a little bit lost. So I want to get him a little excited. He's like, lady, I'm already pooped out. Ready? Ah, wild man. He says, I don't want to wrestle. Oh, there we go. Yes, some wilds. Ready? Bed. Yes, good boy. So again, remember that target training, it shouldn't be like, hey, you're driving me crazy or I'm upset with you. And then that's when they go to their little zone to veg. Because if it's always, okay, you're getting into my sort of annoyed zone, is the problem with using a place behavior or a target spot as you're kind of in trouble, is that it starts to create negative associations with the spot, but can also start to make the dog more anxious going there for other times as well. So make sure that if we are doing some of our lovely place behaviors or even just practicing going to the target, that it's most of the time, again, before you would like him to go and settle. So if we're always waiting for him to have a hard time, again, and then work him from there, then that might be already too hard. So again, stay. So now we just might work a little stay just to throw in some difficulty. Nice. Yes. He says, this is delicious. Thanks for the snacks. Yes. What a good job. Beautiful. So again, yes. And then we could go all done or finished or released, whatever you'd like. And then a little bit of a wiggle. Nice job. You want to find that one? I know that cheese got stuck to the floor. Good luck getting it. So If again, having targets throughout the home could be very helpful. I know you guys had mentioned that you had tried a little bit with the tether system, but they were still having a little bit of a harder time with it. I think you mentioned that going to his crate was the easier of the dynamics. So if he has a nice association with his crate where it's just chilling and vegging, it might be a good way to keep reinforcing those situations for him throughout the day. Because even though he is a little bit older, we're not exactly sure how old, but like 3 to 4-ish or somewhere around there, then we may find that, of course, he's had years worth to work a few skills. So now we might have to have a good year's worth of practice to help him re-get into a better groove. So again, bed. Yes, nice job. So we might work another little stay. He likes these salmon and tuna snacks from last time too. Yes. They're a little crunchy, but they tend to break pretty good, or pretty well. Yes. So I'm just trying to add a little bit of difficulty with me wiggling. Yes. And two, he might even do even better with you guys than he does with me, because this is, again, that novel environment. I'm the new person. So there could be like that more anxiety or excitement for this new setup, where at home he might be more comfortable. So therefore, it's almost like little kids, when they're more comfortable with you than the teacher, they give you all of their great behaviors, even the ones that you don't find so exciting. But remember, that means that, again, his comfort range is more with you, which should be the norm since you are his caregivers. Yes. Nice. Good job. All done. And then we can get Mr. Handsome up. That was beautiful, Mr. B. What a smart man. So obviously, as he's working through some of these little skill sets, you might give him little recesses or take little breaks, or rotate through a few different other skills to get him into the groove. So we might go into a little front, and I might lure him in the beginning to get him into the groove. Nice. Ready? Front. Yes. Good job. And then we would bring him back over to the side. Ready? He's like, lady, this hurts my brain slightly. There we go. Nice. So even if we get him up and wiggling, and then we set him back up on the side. Good job. So, but the main goal is make sure that when you're working with him throughout the day, that I know a lot of times we sometimes get stuck on the bad, and I get it. I've been there. And this is where I would recommend, see if you can, again, bed, is start to practice capturing really great skills or little glimmers of behavior that you enjoy. And you might find having treat stations throughout the home or the zones in which you mostly have him in to be immensely helpful. You might find it also beneficial to let him know of a word for when you are sometimes working with him, and other times when you're all set or finished with a game. Because I think for a lot of the dogs, they're working so hard to create these skills with us that then when all of a sudden we are done, but they're not, they're like, why is this game not working for me now? So if you find that sometimes they are a little nudgy or a little bit overwhelming, it could be because they might still be thinking, hey, this behavior was working so well, like let's say giving eye contact, but now all of a sudden eye contact is giving them nothing. They get frustrated and they start yelling or barking, for example. So we may find for Mr. B is make sure that we're giving him moments where he knows he's maybe working, and other times you can, of course, still capture behavior through the day with praise, touch, exploration, and maybe even some other chews or toys he enjoys. But I would make sure that if he's a little unsure when it's time to practice and when it's not, is create those on-off switches. So a lot of times with my guys, I say, are you ready? And then we start doing something. So training or practicing of some sort of skill or even doing some play. And then I normally say finished. So then my dogs are given something to do instead of being with me and working on that skill set. Nice. So that can sometimes be beneficial. That was, again, just kind of hanging out in the place and getting cozy. So ready, Mr. B? We might go back to our bed. Nice. Get a little sit and then tell him to stay. Was that a sneeze, Ebba? No? Oh, a cough. Okay. Ebba's just in the background doing her thing, having some strawberries. Nice. So right now, if we're doing a stay, I might try adding a little bit of difficulty by maybe doing a semicircle around him. If this is really hard when you make your way all the way around the dog, I would just break it down into smaller steps. So maybe we go ahead, we reinforce for the halfway point. If I were to do a full loop and he finds that really hard, which means that your babe typically breaks and sort of gives up on the behavior, It either means that he hasn't quite figured out this task, or he's getting tired, or he's a little overwhelmed. So again, stay. So if he goes to break, I'm just going to make it a little easier so it's more of an attainable goal and that he's successful. So again, in the beginning, yes, we are feeding heavily throughout the stay duration. He's like, lady, I'm getting winded. It's been a big day already. So we'll get a little sit. I know, brain's melting. He's like, I do like those fishy snacks. So sometimes he gets a little bit unsure. Yes. Again, we're just going to tell him to stay. Maybe we'll work another little rep and give him a breather. Yes, nice. It's right there, beautiful. And then all done. Good job. Ready? We'll get him up. Nice. So when you're working with your handsome guy, oh my goodness, chewing, just make sure to maybe even keep a journal. So I find like having a little log where you can figure out, okay, well, what are my goals? What has been going well? What is still needing work? Make sure that when we're practicing, I know we've mentioned this in class, is we want to work him within those 3 zones. So for example, sorry, a little fluff, is have your green zone or skill set or environments. You all right, sir? Forget how to chew? Poor guy. So green is where everything's going amazing. He's super comfortable. He's very energetic. He's working the skills just fine. He's responsive. He understands the behaviors or cues. And then yellow's where it's getting a little hairy. He's not quite as responsive, but he has a bounce back. He's still taking food and doing pretty well. But we want to really avoid practicing in the red zone. So the red is where, find it, where your babe is failing. So he's non-responsive, he can barely focus on you or a skill, he's not taking food, he's unable to do skills that you know he's gotten quite savvy with. And remember, I know that part of the process is also getting him to generalize those behaviors, but I think a lot of times too, we are sometimes going from, okay, he understands that he does amazing in the house, and then we try to go right into the big field trip, and it might be too hard for him. So I would definitely make it where he's working a little bit more also in those open spaces that I'd mentioned, and see if that helps them become a little bit more comfortable for those other things you're hoping to generalize and have success with. But Mr. B did a really nice job, so we'll give him a little break from that.